Welcome back. All right, I promised I'm going to finish this up, and I am. We're going to talk about the Buffalo Sabres today. Their history over the first quarter century, we've talked about it. We've talked about the Buffalo Sabres, where they're at, where they're headed, and all that fun stuff. In terms of the power rankings, when I was figuring out regular season and postseason power rankings for teams, again, going from 2000, 2001 through last season, Buffalo ends up being 29th in the regular season and 27th in the playoffs. So there's room for improvement with Buffalo. Now, they do make it to the conference finals in 2006 and 2007, so they've had some playoff success in this century, but it's been fleeting. They have not been in the playoffs since 2011. They've been through a lot of coaches, they've been through a lot of GMs, and yet I'm surprised that there aren't more captains the captains we'll get to. It's a mess. But the coaches and the GMs, I'm kind of surprised there isn't more. So, being part of the cursed 1970 expansion along with Vancouver, and both Buffalo and Vancouver are cursed with some truly ugly jerseys, which is, this is a Buffalo jersey I eventually learned to respect because, it's just it's all blue on the back. It looks like a cape. Their last cup win? No, because they're in that same expansion as Vancouver. The grade, it's a C because I'm not going below a C for a whole franchise for a 25-year period or 24-year period. And so it's a C grade for Buffalo. I know people are going to say, well, this should be an exception. You should do a failing grade. Nope. When I decide at the start of a playlist how I'm going to conduct that playlist, I keep everything the same. I don't want to be doing it different as it goes along because it's a playlist. So their leading scorer from 2000-2001, and this is from January 1st of 2001 through this past season of 2023-2024. I'm actually surprised there isn't more that's been touched during the period of time this board's been set up because I set this board up a long time ago. At any rate, Pominville has been the leading scorer for Buffalo from January 1st of 2001 through last season. 733 games, 217 goals, 304 assists, 521 points. Vanek, second on the list, 598 games, 254 goals, 243 assists for 497 points. Derek Roy on the list, 549 games, 161 goals, 266 assists, 427 points. Jack Eichel, 375 games played, 139 goals, 216 assists, 355 points. Jochen Hecht is on the board. Yeah, haven't said that name in a while. 613 games, 138 goals, 207 assists, 345 points. Stafford, one that I liked during his playing career, 563 games, 145 goals, 177 assists for 322 points. Connolly's on the board too. 464 games, 94 goals, 226 assists for 320 points. There's Sam Reinhart in the top 10, 454 goals. Not 454 games, that's better. 134 goals, 161 assists for 295 points. Rasmus Dahlin is on the board. 436 games, 66 goals, 226 assists, 292 points. And Jeff Skinner rounds out the top 10, 427 games, 153 goals, 138 assists, 291 points. And looking through the list, you can see Eichel, that big star player. Of course, they trade him off to Vegas, and now they're looking for another, star player to lead them. And maybe it's going to be Tage Thompson. Tage Thompson would make this list if I compiled it after this season, I would think. But either way, there you go. The top four goaltenders, Ryan Miller leads the way to the surprise of no one. A record of 284, 186, and 57. 916 save percentage. Marty Biron, second on the list, a record of 111, 91, and 25 for a 910 save percentage. Linus Ullmark, 50, 47, and 13 record, 912 save percentage before he goes to Boston. Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen, record of 47, 41, and 10, 904 save percentage, and he's fourth on the list. So if I was making this video after this season's done, Luukkonen would be in the top three. He would pass Ullmark. Now we get to the coaches. It is noteworthy that they're back where they started. Lindy Ruff. Lindy Ruff's a good coach. And Lindy Ruff, during that first time around with Buffalo, I didn't have a problem with them keeping him as long as they did. I don't think Lindy Ruff's going to have that same shelf life this time around, though. Buffalo is going to need to make some changes this coming offseason. Ron Rolston's on the list. Ted Nolan, who was coached multiple times around the NHL. The reputation with Nolan is he's more of a player's coach than being one that necessarily agrees with management. Dan Bilesma on the list as well. Phil Housley, Ralph Kruger, Don Granato, and of course we're back to Lindy Ruff now from Don Granato. Granato had a couple of good runs there, and under Granato they had a few pretty good runs there, but they weren't playoff runs. And so for Buffalo, they desperately need playoffs, the closest they get, missing by 1 point in 2023. And then, of course, 2024, they did not miss by 1 point. And this season, they're not missing by 1 point either. General managers, they've had 4 since the 2000-2001 season, starting with Darcy Regier. Regier, the GM for a majority of this period of time. Then Tim Murray takes over, Jason Botterill, and now Kevin Adams. And a lot is said about Kevin Adams and the job that he's done as the general manager of the team. And I think that if they do go to a new general manager next time out, look for them to bring somebody in who's got a lot of experience. Sort of like what the Oilers did bringing in Ken Holland. I would think it's going to be that kind of a setup if/when the Buffalo Sabres decide to make another change. But will another GM make that much of a difference? How do you turn around a history for the Buffalo Sabres that has been very, very difficult to watch for what's going on 15 years now? Now, when you get around to the captains, Stu Barnes, the first one on the list from 2000-2001, they had 5 for the 03-04 season. Miroslav Shaitan, James Patrick, J.P. Dumont, Chris Drury, and Danny Briere. So, 2 of those guys are general managers now in the National Hockey League. Then from 05 through 07, they had Briere and Drury as their captains. Then 07-08, we're back to rotating captains. Spacek, or Spacek. Yeah, Spacek. Man, hasn't been that long, has it? Anyways, Spacek, Pominville, Ludman, Hesht, and Campbell. I got Ludman. I said Lidman for years, and I'm like, oh, it's Ludman. Oh, bad for me. Anyways, and Campbell being the last one on the list there, so a lot of them. Then they go to Craig Rivet as they go this crazy way of just having one captain. Jason Pominville, and then 2013-2014, Vanek and Ott are both captains. Steve Ott was the one that showed this jersey first. That post on social media garnered a lot of attention. Basically him showing the jersey with this look on his face like, yeah, they expect us to wear this. Brian Giunta being captain in Buffalo for a bit there. Jack Eichel, captain up until he's on his way out. And then Kyle Okposo became the captain before he is traded to Florida, and now Rasmus Dahlin is the captain. And as we can tell at this point in time, Dahlin's the one they're building around. And so, of course, people are going to speculate on how long he'll be a Sabre. We're already seeing some speculation on that, which Dahlin is pushed back upon. The Buffalo Sabres, it doesn't feel like there's necessarily a direction here other than, well, we'll just go ahead and add prospects and draft picks. Over the last few years, that's what they've done. And now that they're trying to build up and they've got all these really good young players, it is a very difficult path ahead for the Buffalo Sabres in terms of becoming a playoff team yet again. There are some good parts of this team, and there have been really in most of the seasons since they were last in the playoffs. It's just a matter of that consistency and having that exact right mix to end up above the playoff line when the regular season comes to an end. So let me know your thoughts in the comments section below. As always, hit like and subscribe if you haven't done so already. Thank you guys so much for all your support. I will talk to you again soon.